I love Neocities, and the reason is you can be so creative with this website. This is the sequel to GeoCities in a way, because GeoCities was a free hosting platform from the 90s until 2009, and it had this like distinct personality to it. Let's look at Cameron's World. This is a scraping of a lot of the old GeoCities websites, and I mean, look at this. It's like, there's such a style to this. There's such a distinct 90s-ness to this. And this is like very nostalgic. But anyways, what I like about Neocities is it captures the spirit of those old 90s websites and how a person would just have HTML and CSS and they would just have to craft something out of that if they wanted to try their hand at making a website, which a lot of people did for like personal expression back then, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I first used the internet in maybe 1999 or so, maybe 98, because I was like 4 or 5 years old, but I was kind of a nerd from the beginning. So I didn't really witness GeoCities because we had Google, and I just don't think I ever went there. I went on Newgrounds and stuff. But anyways, what's great about Neocities is that you can practice your web development that you learned anywhere else, which I would recommend using Free Code Camp, and go to the responsive web design certification. And it said there that we're going to make like a cat homepage or something. So what's cool about this is it's kind of like made out of Lego. In a way, this is an IDE, integrated development environment, I guess, and it has like your HTML start tag. It has an end tag down here. Step 1 of the HTML course is put cat photo app in here. And so Free Code Camp is just a great place to learn how to code HTML and CSS, and then after you've learned how to code, you can put it into practice on Neocities, because you do have to put it into practice or else you won't know what the heck is going on. And you see, I just passed that, but if I didn't, it would have an error. It still shows here, which is cool, you know, but it says, nope, code didn't pass, try this instead. Here's a hint, you know? And so I highly recommend Free Code Camp. But anyways, once you've learned some HTML and CSS from there, maybe a tiny bit of JavaScript maybe, because that's the trifecta of web development. Those 3 languages, that's what websites all run on. You can try your hand at creating a website. And Neocities is a completely free to use hosting service. It runs on donations and it's open source. And they just want to make web development fun again, pretty much. So you have your HTML tag, which you set to language English if you want it to be English. You set your doc type HTML, that's a normal thing. You're supposed to do that. Inside of every HTML element should be a head and a body tag. And in the head, you put your metadata, such as the title of your web page. And you would put the viewport width and scale, which is like how your web page proportions to the viewport, which is what they call like the window that you're looking into to look at the internet, you know, if that makes any sense. Metacarset UTF-8, that's your like English language characters. It's like Unicode stuff. Anyways, doesn't matter. This link is how you add CSS, and that's how you make your website look colorful. HTML is just like the text and just the skeleton of like, where should I put this stuff? Then CSS is like how I added this rainbowy stuff here. Do you see? And it's how I made the Jordan is lame text purple, actually. There's like a text selector, and then you can add a property like color red or something. And there's like for this div or something, I use like a background color purple as well, you know. CSS is simple. You'll learn it quickly in the Free Code Camp, and you may already know it if you're watching this. So you can create like a personal expression out of this website that you make. This is supposed to be like a sort of like a warped perspective I have of myself. I created some shrines, like just based on some things that I like. I made this PC98 shrine, which is based on like the PC98 system and the graphics of the games for that. A really cool console with like this neat dithering. So I don't know. I just made this like tribute montage mural thing for it, you know, the shrine. People make these shrines, and this is a thing that you see on other Neocities websites, is like, this seems to be a shrine of, well, this is the homepage of a cool Neocities site. It doesn't say Neocities up here because you can change the DNS, you can change your URL if you want. And this is just like a really cool example of what you can do. And it's kind of like a shrine. These are Japanese magazines about fashion, I think, and they're pretty cool. And this is like a mural that a person made, like a shrine that someone made for these things. So you can make stuff like that. And so I made this one for the PC98, as I said. I made this like V's recommended games wiki, which is, V is a board on 4chan, and I used to go on there a lot. And on the recommended wiki, it would like, they would recommend these games, and the wiki would look like this. It would have this table. It looked a lot like this. So I wanted to make a little proof of concept that I can make a table that looks like this. I made a Pokédex. This is based on the Bulbapedia website. Is this just Gen 1? Yeah. And I had to use a background color selector to change like the type color for these, which was a pain. And you can do a cool span thing. Cool span is a table property, and you can make it so that you either have like 2 as 1, like this one is just a bug type, Cocoon is just bug type, but Weedle is bug and poison. So you can make it like it has 2 types, or you can make it like it has 1 type. And so yeah, this is just a cool project I made. I think it's cool. And I had to use like a div combined with a scroll bar to make this, you know. And so you can just do things like this, and you can learn how to code using this website, you know? It's really neat. So like these patterns here, where they're like repeating mountains or some kind of strange pattern, I have these tiles here that are stars, and I mean, these are tiles, you know? That's what these are actually. And that's what these are. So, this is a repeating tile that repeats to the right and it repeats down. And in the CSS, you can go background image, URL, whatever the URL is for the image. This is the tile. This one is space stars.gif. So you can actually have a moving image, you know. And then you say repeat, background repeat, repeat. That's how the code goes. So now it takes that GIF URL, it uses it as like a background image, and then it would only have one up in the top left here, but instead it has like infinite to the right and infinite down, and also like this way, you know, it does it for each layer all the way, you know what I mean? And that is a really cool thing that you can do to make backgrounds without having to like have some massive image that takes forever to load. So you can be creative, right? I added this shrines thing based on something I saw on this voopy.lol website, actually. You see that this about me has some honeycombs in it. This my links has a Tails animation, which is cool. And it also shows like some Sega magazines or something. This stuff I made has like a scrolling animation of his plushies, I guess. So I put some things I like. I put Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. I put Death Note. I put A Tribe Called Quest Midnight Marauders. I put a Neo Geo that has Samurai Showdown on the screen. I put MF Doom's album Food. These are things that I like a lot. These are like some of my favorite things. As part of my so-called personality, I put these little badge things, whatever these are called. They're like 88 by something dimensions, and you see these on a lot of these old school GeoCities and Neocities sort of sites. Like Creation, the rapper, actually has a website in this style, and she has some of these types of things. Where are they? Doesn't she? She has these anyways, these longer ones. Yeah, that's about it actually. But you see, she has these little GIFs, and these are things that people add to their, is a PS1 here, some Japanese. These are things that people add for personality. And I have this Lucas from Mother 3 and Super Smash Bros. Cursor. You can actually customize your cursor in the CSS. So that's a thing I did too. I have this well, I already showed this to you actually, but this is a site devlog. So as a sort of challenge to myself, I turned my website building process into a web page itself, and I like sort of blogged about it here, you see. So it says October 20th, 2022, bought the jordanislame.com domain from DreamHost, but looked into what alternatives to GeoCities there were. It died in 2009. Since I like the creativity, personal expression, and chaos of such sites, I found Neocities. October 21st, 2022, took the first 3 courses of Free Code Camp's Guide to Web Development that focus on HTML and CSS. Not sure if I learned that much, but there were like 200 steps to pass. Also started using Sad Girl's HTML CSS template builder, which is free and you can use it for Neocities. And so that, by the way, is this thing, which you can tell that I stole it. Not really stole, because she lets you just use it, but you can customize how you want it to look, and then you can just like take the code that she gives you, and it can be pretty long. So you just like plop this into your page. You could just delete everything, honestly, and just do that. Maybe, although there's no HTML tag. Actually, you probably shouldn't do that. But you can place it directly into the body tag, probably. You could probably just like delete all this, and then could probably do that, and that would probably work. That sort of thing. That's what this is all about, is you have to experiment. So try it out for yourself, I guess. So this is the IDE for Neocities, and you can change what it looks like. There's this ambiance thing. What was it on before? Tomorrow night? Yeah, that's how I like it to be, actually. I am not going to save this. I just ruined that web page. I may not have mentioned it, but this is where you put all of your web pages and your assets. I have this folder called Pages where I put like some little projects, I put site replicas, I put individual shrines, I put games of mine, I put experiment zone, like this Winamp page, which I never got that Winamp thing to work. I put floats. Floats are these kind of complicated thing where like you divide the page into these squares, but I like just using divs and flexboxes better. If you know what those are, then yeah, you should use those, I think, rather than floats. But that was an experiment I did. There's this forum shrine, and you see like you can like directly go to your page like that, and it's kind of convenient, you know. This forum shrine is based on like these signature things that you would put at the end of your forum post. I don't know if you've ever seen these forum posts where someone says like lol XD, and that's like their entire forum post, but then after that it has an image below that they didn't even post. It's just like they said on the website, I want to add this to every single post I make. Please add this as like the footer thing. And so this is a thing that you see on old forums, and it's just like nostalgic for me. I used to have these signatures. I don't post on old forums as much, but yeah, I like them. I would have a recently watched anime thing. I would have a recently played game thing, maybe. I might have a trainer card from Pokemon. Not all at once though. Usually you would only put one thing, because if you have too many images, it's like kind of douchey. I tried to make some things. Here's a matrix style thing that my friend asked me to help me with, I guess, or at least I helped him with it anyway. I don't know. So we made this like matrix thing, which was pretty hard to do, actually. We had to ask Stack Exchange for a little bit of help, actually. I made this meme soundboard. And so this was a thing where I had to set up the JavaScript so that like when you click on this button, it triggers a sound, and that's like more complicated than it sounds like. I mean, it sounds easy, but it uses this like on-click method thing that was like a real bitch to set up. Here's the script. Function play sound clicked ID var audio equals new audio clicked ID plus string.mp3 audio.play method. Audio is a variable with a, is that an object or something? I haven't coded in a month or two, actually. You can click on people's websites like this. I mean, I'm clicking on the source. You can just like right click and say like look at website source, and you can open up a page like this. I'm looking at my own, but even if I was someone else and I looked at this page, it would look the same, you know. I can look at this for other people's pages, like this is that sad girl person's page and it looks the same, you know what I mean? It's good to take apart people's sites and kind of like reverse engineer them a bit. I think that's how we grow, you know, and I recommend it. So those were all my pages. I have my experiment zone. I have my games. Oh yeah, I had this stuck in a room game. Wow. This is a Twine game. It's interesting. I never finished it. It's a choose your own adventure game. If you're interested, you can go on Twine and do that. I don't know. So this is all of the images that you pull from. And what I like about Neocities is just how creative it is. Again, this Voopy site is one of my biggest inspirations on here. He has the concept of the shrine. He has this Sega shrine. Wait, Sega shrine? Oh, he mixed them up. Yeah, I just clicked on Sega shrine and this is Starfy. And this Starfy one's really cool. You can scroll down here. Starfy Shrine is actually the Sega Shrine for some reason. And I like Sega, so I mean I have that in common with him. He has a horror shrine. Articles that he's written, and he made this rainbowy. I mean, that's pretty cool, you know? Can be really creative like that. Collections. Blinkies. Oh yeah, that's what these are. He made a Chow Garden website. I always wanted to make one of these. Even before I stumbled upon this website, I always had this idea that I always wanted to do this back in like 2005 or something too, but he beat me to it. I think that a lot of people have made Chow things like that, but yeah. Whoa, that's interesting. He changed this frame here. It didn't used to look like that. He has a YouTube video about this website. Well, about Neocities. So he's one of the guys that I learned about Neocities from, actually. So that's why you might recognize this site. Maybe you've been on his video. I don't know. I have this GIF collection page, which is something you would see on some of these sorts of sites, GeoCities and stuff. I have this coding progress page where I would actually have to type out, in code, you know, in order to make any of this stuff show up, you have to type it out in code. You have to say H1 for solo learn progress. So this is probably an H3 or something. And then for me to make a purple, I would have to give it a CSS style, you know, maybe say select all H3s or something, and then give it color purple, you know, and I would have to code all this out. But anyways, this page is for my coding progress, and I would write my journal in it and for that, and my streaks. I never updated this. I think I got quite a bit further than this. I probably got like 100 of these black dots. I got pretty far in Free Code Camp. I had this idea that I wanted to make a bunch of games, a bunch of very small games. One of them I made is that Stuck in a Room game, which is a Twine game. I made Chrome Dino game. I made Golf Island, which is this. It's a text adventure sort of game. It gives you some plot, and then you hit swing, and then it counts down until 0. And then there's some random number generation in that calculates how high or low that your swing might have been in like feet, and depending on how many swings it took, which again is kind of random, you get a placement and the trophy will vary and this text will vary. So this was a bit of a hassle to put together. This looks simple there, but there's some complicated JavaScript here, sort of complicated for me at the time anyways. It's nowhere near what people do on like Unity and stuff. Those people are insane. But anyways, I thought it was cool. And so this was an idea I had based on reading Masters of Doom, actually. I was really inspired by Carmack and Romero, the creators of Doom. They would code like 12 hours a day for like 10 years. I made replicas of sites and stuff. I was going to make a YouTube one too, but I did make this 4chan page replica. This isn't actually 4chan. Like, it's a fake page. Nothing does anything. You see, I'm clicking on things. Nothing does anything. but I think I got it kind of close. These are like borderlines or rules or something, whatever they call these lines. And I had to use fonts to get things right, and I had to center things in a certain way. And I think I used floats here. This is a search bar, of course, but it's actually broken. It doesn't do anything, you know? None of this stuff actually does anything. I'm just trying to make it look a certain way. And yeah, so I just really like this site for the creativity it oozes. Here's another neat site. This person is like an artist, I'm sure. Someone who 3D models. Oh, wow. They must be a 3D modeler. And so people just like post these artistic sites. And again, although it says obby.dog, it's actually a Neocities site, but they just got a URL. And like you can just like search people's sites, and it's like a consensual thing. Everyone wants you to check out their site, otherwise they wouldn't have coded it. You can make your site private anyway, so I mean, you're supposed to check out each other's site and then maybe form a community. And some of these people have like Discords that you can join. I'm actually in one guy's Discord. Like with GeoCities, there were web rings where people would form a collective around some sort of ideal on the web. Maybe like you guys are all like romance novelists, and you have a bunch of websites on the 90s internet that are sort of like friends with each other. They like link to each other, and people know you guys as a network or something, right? This was a thing that people used to do, and people are doing it now again, right? These sites are like being made in like 2017, maybe 2021 or something. And see, this person has a Twitter. So yeah, people have these modern but old school feeling creative websites. There's a lot of love for Serial Experiments Lane on the indie web. And that's because like of the feeling of isolation in that show, and this feeling that she's a part of the internet, and it's like a very creepy show. They also have kind of a blog here, and I think that they make music, if I recall correctly. Here's some Three.js 3D models that someone made. Three.js is a JavaScript framework sort of thing, and people make 3D images with it. I've actually tried to learn this. It's a sort of JavaScript language, but it's pretty tricky for me, at least. I am not good at 3D stuff, but it's really cool. And so someone made a gallery about their work, and yeah, this is something that a person can do too. Here's this old school style site. This is made in Neocities, and it says, "Hey there, web surfer, kick back and relax for a while at my site, and to make you feel more at home, enjoy this fireplace." And it's like the Christmas free DVR fireplace or whatever. They uploaded their drawings. That's something you can do. And so it's an all-encompassing platform that has free hosting. You don't have to pay for anything. They are open source. They live only off of donations. It has that going for it. It has a web coder inside of it. You can just code inside of the website and then update your website, kind of like Squarespace maybe or something. I don't know. You can't really add like PHP or React or like Node to this, but you can do quite a bit with it. And you could create like a simple business web page for yourself, actually. And it could actually look professional. It might not have the most beautiful JavaScript again, but you can still put JavaScript into it. And it has this great trifecta. It has a file explorer, it has an IDE in it that you can code in, and it has like the ability to view whatever you coded in. You just like perfect these three aspects, and you can create a great site like that. And then you have free hosting for it too. Anyways, that's going to be about it, I think. So, see ya.